Indigenous environmental activism is a movement that has been gaining momentum in recent years. As indigenous peoples around the world are fighting to protect their ancestral lands and way of life, indigenous environmental activists are working to confront the many threats to their culture, land, and water, including climate change, land and resource extraction, and government policies that fail to recognize indigenous rights and sovereignty. In doing so, they are at the forefront of the global environmental movement, advocating for the protection of the planet's natural resources and for the rights of indigenous peoples everywhere. Indigenous environmental activists have a long history of fighting for environmental justice. In the United States, for example, indigenous activists have been leading the fight against the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline, DAPL, since 2016. The DAPL was proposed to run through sacred sites and burial grounds of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, and would have threatened the water supply of the Standing Rock Reservation. After a long and hard-fought battle, the Standing Rock Sioux were able to successfully prevent the construction of the pipeline, and their victory has since become a symbol of indigenous environmental activism around the world. Indigenous activists have also been advocating for the protection of their ancestral lands and way of life, which are threatened by resource extraction and development projects. In Canada, members of the Wet'suwet'en Nation have been leading a fight against the construction of a natural gas pipeline that would cross their traditional lands in British Columbia. The Wet'suwet'en people have been protesting for years, and their efforts have garnered the support of other Indigenous peoples in Canada and around the world. In addition to fighting against resource extraction projects, Indigenous environmental activists are also advocating for the rights of Indigenous peoples and for the protection of the planet's natural resources. They are calling on governments to recognize the rights of indigenous peoples to self-determination, and to develop policies that respect indigenous sovereignty and protect their ancestral lands. They are also calling for the implementation of policies that will protect the environment and ensure the sustainability of our planet's natural resources. Indigenous environmental activists are at the forefront of the global environmental movement, and their work is essential to the protection of the planet's natural resources and to the recognition of indigenous rights. They are inspiring a new generation of activists to stand up for the rights of indigenous peoples and to fight for a better future for all of us.